Good morning to everybody, and we're going to be working on this 2013 Hyundai Accent. I believe it's got the 1.6 liter in it, and what we're going to be doing to it, as you can tell from the beginning of the video, is a wheel bearing, and this is the passenger side. I'll show it again for everybody who didn't really see it, but I'm going to do it where you can kind of hear it. But she is definitely eaten up. I mean, it's pretty bad. But this is a press-in wheel bearing, so this will involve some special tools if you want to attempt this job. But let me gather some regular tools before we get to the specialty tools, and then we'll be right back to take this wheel off and get started on here, because you're going to have to remove the whole entire knuckle because it presses into the knuckle as well as the hub. But like I said, I'll be right back. Alright, I got y'all set up on the tripod now, and we're going to take this tire off first, and I believe those are probably a 21. That is correct. I could do this on the lift, but we're not going to do that. We're going to actually do it on the ground, show that anybody can do this job. Okay. Next step we're going to do is we're going to remove the caliper on this, and I'm just going to remove the whole thing with the bracket. And this right here looks a little tight. Yeah, the brake cable bracket, or brake hose bracket, was bent, so we're going to check out a few things just to make sure nothing else is bad. Alright, looks like she's got new pads on here. Let's see what size this is, maybe a 17. First try. See if we can get them off now without that one need an extension. Got the top one broke loose. Now for the bottom one. Use my electric ratchet. What I'm going to do, we're going to use this one to hold it up for a second while we take out this one right there. That should be a 12. That is correct. Which it wasn't really tight at all. But it's going to be too tight for the fingers, apparently. I am using these hangers right here. You can get them at any parts store. They should have them in the tool section, and I think this whole, for a set of 2 of them, was on like $10 or something. And they do come in handy when you're doing brakes. So you can hook it up and not have to worry about it. Alright, now we got that. Take off the, come on. You gotta take off the tie rod end, and we're gonna get that out of the way. Let me grab a pair of pliers so I can get this cotter pin out. Also, this tie rod end nut is a 17. That is the nut right there. So here's where your tie rod is. It goes in right here. This is your tie rod. It is still pretty tight right there, so we don't need to recommend any kind of tie rod job or anything, which would have been the perfect time to do it right now, because it would have just been pretty much part price, not labor price. But now what we're going to do is remove this wheel speed sensor. I do know if you live up north, this may be an issue for you, because these can rust in there pretty good. I live in the south. I know that's probably a bonus for me, just because things do not rust the way they do in the north. I have lived in the north, and I've seen the corrosion that we can get up there. This is a 10mm though. So we're going to take that out real quick, and we'll pull the sensor out. Here is the wheel speed sensor. As you can see, there is a lot of metal on there that would indicate that the wheel bearing is bad as well, because it is collecting all of the shards of metal that are coming off. And I bet it's getting all over the ring on the axle as well. Alright, next step we're going to do is remove this rotor. It's going to have these two Phillips head screws right here. Let's see if we can get them off. Oh yeah, that one like to play. Let's see if this one wants to play. Oh, good. Makes me happy. This brings out the joy, because these were not stuck in there, and I've had to drill these out before. These can get like a pain in the butt, but once you take them off, they seem to come out, like once you break them loose that first time, they seem to come out pretty good. Alright, so now we need to tap our rotor off without doing any damage to it. So I'm going to use a soft faced mallet to do this. That didn't take too much. Oh yeah, you can really see it right there. Yeah, but she was getting some good vibrations out of that one. Alright, now we got that. We're actually going to take the nut off the front. It looks like about a 32. So that is a 32. And it wasn't on there tight at all. I bet it's gonna start vibrating it loose from the wheel bearing being bad. So I was gonna use my slide hammer to just pull the hub out first, but my hub attachment does not fit on this, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the whole knuckle off. Then I'll run to the parts store and grab like a hub puller or something to pull this out. You can rent tools from your local parts store, and you just put the price of the tool down on it, and then when you bring the tool back, you get all your money back. That's how the loan tool program works on those places. But like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the actual knuckle off now with the hub still in it. But these bolts right here, the bolt portion head is a 17, the nuts are actually a 19. Alright, now we have this nut on the bottom right there. Alright, so the one on the bottom is a 19. We're going to go ahead and pull this off too, and we're going to try to break that free from the knuckle. Hopefully this right here will come out pretty easy, and then once we do this, we can pull the knuckle off. But let me take this off real quick, and then they'll be right back. I have the knuckle out now. There's the knuckle, and you can see there is a snap ring back here. You're going to have to remove that right there before you take the hub out, or the bearing and everything. We did have to knock the axle out with a punch. I just put it up inside of there where the little indention is and knock it out, because as you can see, these splines right there are pretty rusted. Put all the bolts back pretty much where they went. I'm going to leave it up like this until I get back. I'm going to see if they have the right adapter for the wheel spacing on this, or lug nut spacing on that, just so I can use a slide hammer to knock it out and separate the bearing into two pieces, because to me that'd be a little bit of an easier process. But if they do not have that, I will grab the OTC Hub Grappler kit and show you how to use that, because you can use it on the car. But like I said, let me go grab all this stuff and then we'll be right back. And that's how we got the old one off, just that quick. Now we're gonna have to press the other half of it out of the actual knuckle, and to do this I'm gonna take it over to the press, because you can't heat that one up to get it to fall out. But we're gonna take it over there to the press, and then I'll show you how I press this one out. Alright, so as you saw from the beginning of the video, I broke this spindle right here. It broke off the mounting tabs for the actual brake caliper, and we did get another used one. It was my fault. Just as an FYI, do not press on the mounting tabs for that. I did use an adapter from my ball joint press kit that went up inside of here, and it fit about snug in there. It's just once they press out, they will get stuck into that adapter, and I'll have to figure out a way to get it out, but we can do that later. But we do have the new one right here. It's about ready to put the new wheel bearing in, and then let me grab a tool to put it in with, and I'll be right back. All right, now we're going to start pressing it in, and it should go in a whole lot easier than they come out. Once you feel pressure on it, go about another 1 or 2 pumps and you should be good. You just want to make sure that it's seated into the actual spindle. And we're going to double check it just to be sure. And there's a little groove in there where that snap ring come out. You want it to be below that, and I think we are good enough to get that snap ring in there. So we're going to take it back to the bench and we're going to put that snap ring in. Here's the snap ring right here, and I like to put the opening at the actual wheel speed sensor. You may have to use a pick or a screwdriver or something. Alright, should be seated down in there now. And the next step is going to be pressing this into the hub, because it needs to be pressed in this way. So we're going to go ahead and start pressing that down. Now we have it set up. I do have the piece that I used to press it in with, the bearing itself under it, holding it off the plate down here. And then I got this started in straight. That's the main keys, to make sure that they're straight when they're going in. And it didn't take too much to put these in. As you can see, they're already going in really smooth. And on that bearing, there is no inside or outside, because there's no reluctor wheel on it to read on the wheel speed sensor, because it does get the wheel speed sensor reading off of the axle itself. And there we go. That is seated on all the way. So like I said, this right here is spinning a lot better. There's no movement in it or any of that stuff. We got the C-clip in there, or the snap ring, whichever one you want to call it. Everything is pressed down good, and she's spinning free. So we're going to throw this back on, but I ain't going to show any of that process, just because it's pretty much the reversal of all the removal stuff. And I will put all the torque specs in the description below for everybody. And if you have any questions or anything or need any other specs, just hit me up on the comment section, or you can get me on my email. But if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And until next time, y'all have a great day.